Welcome to episode 36 of Sport SA Daily Diary. Today we're chatting to superbike racer Savannah Woodward. Hey Savannah, how are we doing today?
Hi, Adam. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, no, very well, thank you. You had a busy day today. You've been out training, I believe.
I've been super busy. Not too long ago, I got back from training, so it's been a busy day, as it always is.
So has lockdown continued as normal for you in the Woodward family, or have there been restrictions?
Yes, there have been a few restrictions. Like I'm quite sad. Missing riding my superbike, but luckily I do have an off-road bike that I ride every day, so it's pretty much usual for me, just without my superbike.
Yeah. So a girl and a superbike, that's quite some story, huh? Was this has this been a love affair from the word go, or tell us how you got into this male-dominated sport, as I have to say it.
This started 14 years ago, so it's been in my life for as long as I've known. I started on motocross, and then I made the change to superbikes. It was never an intention to, hey, go ride a superbike or start racing. We live on a small farm at home. We've got 5 acres, and my dad saw a little 50cc and he's one of his customers was selling it. So he was like, well, I've got a daughter, but we've got the space. So let's see, maybe she'll ride it. And I got it. I got home, I saw it, and my dad said, only when your feet touch the floor can you ride the motorbike. So every day before school, I'd run into the garage, I'd sit on the bike, and my feet wouldn't touch it. And then eventually I grew enough to put my feet on the floor. And I ran inside. I was like, Dad, I can ride. I don't want to go to school. I want to ride. And as it is at home, you've got plants, trees, and all that. So my first day, I was trying to jump every little hump there was. And I was jumping into fences and trees. And one of my dad's workers said, no, take her to a track. She is going to get hurt. So my dad took me to the track, and the following year I started racing. So that's been how I got into the sport.
So the listeners have got an idea. So, and you're 19 now. So this being 14 years ago, you started at 5 years old.
Yes.
Sure, that's quite incredible.
I started riding at 5. My first race, I was 6.
That's unbelievable. And how did that first race go?
The first race, I started off and I finished in 14th place, but at the end of the year, I finished a championship in 3rd. So,
and was this boys and girls mixed, or?
Yes, it was boys and girls mixed. Yamaha sponsored a little series where all the kids rode exactly the same bike, had the same kit. We were all on equal equipment, and so it basically showed what your talent was. So I started out in 14th and ended the year with being 3rd in the championship, boys and girls.
Sure. That's fantastic. Well done on that. And I presume you carried this on all the way through school. Did you participate in any other sports at school, or was it bikes for you, and that's as far as it goes?
I participated in swimming as well as I did karate, but other than that, I went to pretty small schools. So that was my really only other sports I did. So karate, swimming, and motorbike riding.
Okay. And once you'd finished school, or before you'd finished school, when did superbikes hit the scene for you?
Superbikes hit the scene in about 2012. So I was 12 years old, well, 11 going 12. And I actually was riding at the motocross track. I rode, I crashed. And one of our friends, Jason's Vestals, he walked up to my dad and he was like, she must come try out the superbike riding. And I was like, Dad, I was supposed to have gone with a friend to go and try out these little Honda NSF 100. But when I got there on the day, there weren't enough kids. So they said, sorry, you can't ride. So I was like, Dad, I know that I wanted to go ride there. So I tried it out, and with the gear changing different directions from a motocross bike to a superbike, my dad said, you've got to pick one. So I chose a superbike, and I've been with it ever since.
Sure, that's quite a story. What sort of speeds were those bikes going at that age, Savannah?
At that age, they said about, if I'm not mistaken, it's like at 160 k's an hour you can get up to.
Jeepers. So for a 12-year-old, that's incredibly fast and quite a thing to manage, sort of a responsibility to manage at that speed.
It is, but it's actually quite crazy now that I'm older and I watch the little guys, how much control they have over the motorbike. And a lot of times, a lot of the kids have ADHD, and their parents put them into motorsport because you have to focus. Either you focus or you're going off. So it teaches you a lot of concentration.
And Savannah, when did this become a full-time career / when did you see this as becoming a professional opportunity and a professional sport for you?
Well, in 2015, I was 14 years old. I was invited to join mono racing, and from there I grew. The sponsors really helped me get into racing and really become professional in it. And from there, I was like, okay, I'm getting to the point where I'm doing well, so I can take this on. And in 2018, it was my first year racing internationally.
Where internationally did you go and race?
I was the only woman invited from Africa to compete in the Italica Women's World Cup. It takes place in Mexico, and it has 5 of the continents, well, ladies from 5 different continents. Yeah.
And yeah, Savannah, has 77 always been your number?
Well, when I first started racing, it was 11, then 7, and when I came to the superbike scene, I was like, no, let's put them together in 77. So it's been my number since I started superbike racing, and I would never change it.
Oh, that's a good story. And Savannah, I see on the wall behind you on your left, there is a get well soon message.
Yeah.
There's a big story behind that. Tell us about that story.
So I competed, as I told you before, I competed in the Italica Women's World Cup. We did 5 races for the championship. In the last race of the year, when I went over, we had a good race. Well, it was in my first race. The race started, it was red flag, which means the race ends, and then they restarted. I was fighting to move up a position. As I passed another one of the riders, the lady riders, we touched handlebars, and I ran off track. There was a wall hitting the long grass. I hit the wall. I flew about 10 meters at almost 2 stories high. I landed on my back and head, and the medics came to suss me out and see how I was, and unfortunately they found me unconscious, and that's how I stayed for the next week. Taking me to hospital, it took them 2 hours. They had to stop at 2 clinics to stabilize me, and then when we got to the hospital, they said, nope, we've got to put her into an induced coma because unfortunately I had sustained traumatic brain injury, and I had water on the lungs of it. So I was overseas, my parents were here, and I was lying in hospital in a critical condition. So my dad flew across there, and my friend phoned my dad and said, okay, you've got to come over because the doctor said it might be your last chance to say goodbye. So yes, it's a dangerous sport, but what I love.
And how fast were you going when that accident happened, Savannah?
I I ran off track, and they calculated that when I hit the wall, I was going at 140 k's an hour.
Yeah, that's incredibly fast. And you were on life support, I believe?
Yes, I was on life support for a week in ICU. They had me in the coma, and then after the week, they said, okay, let's try and bring her out of the coma. It took me a while. It took me almost 3 days to come out of the coma. And then I woke up. I only remember the first memory I have after my accident was 3 weeks later.
Sure. Do you have any... Carry on.
I woke up the week later. Apparently, I was kicking, screaming, almost had an animal scream. I'd pull out all the drips they had in me. They had to feed me with a feeding tube. I was tired. It got to the point where they had to tie me to the bed. I have no memory of that. It's something they said I'll never get memory back of, because of that type of injury. You basically lose yourself.
Yeah, I'm sure. And talking of memory, do you remember anything before the crash?
I remember before the crash, like it's weird. It's in moments. I remember moments. I don't remember my whole time I was there. So there are like moments or specific things that happened that I remember, but other things, how I got to that moment or why it happens, I have no clue.
So you've got no recollection of the moment of going through the grass and any emotion that you may have felt during there, being absolutely petrified or anything like that?
No, I only, so the accident happened on the 1st of December 2018. My first memory of the actual accident was a year later. So
Sure.
December 2019. I remember I went to the grass. I was running off track. I'm used to that. I've done it many times. It's something that happens in superbike racing. And
yeah.
I was going through the grass, well, off onto the grass, and I looked up and there was long grass. At the last second, I saw there was a wall hidden in the long grass. I tried to miss it. I was like, don't panic, because the worst thing to do in a situation like that is panic. So I tried to miss it, and the last memory I have is being thrown off the motorbike.
Jeepers. That must have been absolutely petrifying. And you were in hospital in Mexico for quite some time. How did you get back to South Africa?
It was a very difficult time. Of course, no airline wanted to take me. They were like, no, it's too dangerous having someone that badly injured on an airplane. So luckily, Air France, after a lot of debating with them, we got a doctor from here in South Africa to fly over there to Mexico to meet up with me and fly back with me. They said I have to fly in first class and with a doctor, and that's how I got home. And thanks to Motorsport South Africa and the biking community, who raised a huge amount of money to pay for everything to get me home.
Sure, that's an amazing story that you managed to get home and get home in one piece. After your accident, how long did it take for you to get back on the bike?
It took me about, I got home on Christmas Eve, and in March, I was back on a bike.
And were you back on the bike with the same zest for the sport and love for the sport and passion about going at Mach 1 with your hair on fire, as Top Gun quote would say?
Yes, I was. I remember lying in a hospital in Mexico, and I couldn't even, I was so badly damaged that I couldn't sit up by myself, never mind feed myself, walk. I had to learn how to walk again, how to sit up. So I was lying in hospital, and my doctor walked in, and I said to him, okay, we need to have a serious talk now. When will I be able to be back on a motorbike? And he looked at me and he was like, in your condition, I don't think you'll ever get back on a motorbike. I looked at him and I started laughing. I was like, okay, we'll see about that. And that was the reason why I recovered how I did. My only goal was to get back on my bike. I'd be like, any down day I had, or I was like, oh no, I'm not never going to recover. I was like, yes, you are. You are going to recover so you can get back doing what you love and riding and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
sorry?
you say that, Savannah. A lot of lesser people would have accepted what the doctor had said and almost capitulated into depression or having to find another career for themselves. But yet you're strong enough and bold enough to keep going. You still with us? Savannah, you still with us?
Yeah, it's as I said, this sport is what I've been doing, and that was my only goal. That was what I had was I'm going to get back up on, and I'm going to continue racing. It's what I love to do, and it's all I know. It's what I've aimed my life at, is racing. So I wasn't scared when I got back on the bike for the first time. I had no fear. I had no memory of the accidents the first time I got back on the bike. So it was quite strange. It was because for a long time, I had no memory of the accident. It was as if the accident had happened to someone else, not me. So it's like being afraid of someone else's car accident, or say now you had a car accident and now I've got to be afraid of driving the car. I didn't remember the accident, so it didn't frighten me. It happened. Unfortunately, yes, it is a dangerous sport, but thankfully I had the best equipment that I could ever have wished for. Luckily, I was sponsored by Shark Helmets, who had me covered, and even the FIM, which is Motorsports International Federation, they said if I didn't have the helmets I had, that would have been me.
Sure. So you were very lucky. Savannah, this accident could quite easily have been a low moment in your career. Do you see it as that, or do you see it as a learning or something similar?
No, I definitely do see it as a low moment for me, because I was starting to get to the point where I was reaching my pinnacle. I was racing against some of the best females in the world. Most of the races I finished in the top 5. I was starting to become the racer and athlete I wanted to be, and it knocked me down. And being out of the sport you love for a year, there's a lot of emotional and psychological things that mess with you. So yes, it's built me stronger to believe in myself. But if I think back where I might have been today, if I didn't have to take off a whole year to recover. So yes, it has taught me a lot, but it has brought me back, because like if I go and race with new people, I won't just suddenly try and overtake them because I'm like, I don't know how you ride. So there is that bit of not fear, but apprehension in it. But I take it as a learning curve, because otherwise I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, no, for sure. You were obviously well known within the sport. During the accident, or just after the accident, you received a message from no other than Jorge Lorenzo, the multiple MotoGP champ. So you'd obviously made a name for yourself. Is the plan to get back to that level and to that pinnacle?
Yes, it is. That's what my mindset and my focus has been, getting back to that. Since I woke up, well, my first memory after my accident, it's just been get back to where you were. So luckily, I back in 2018, I was coached by Jorge Lorenzo's father, And so I was starting to get to places where I wanted to be. And now my focus is that I'm planning now, unfortunately, with the virus and all that. I can't go overseas, of course, but hopefully when this is all over, I'm planning to go back to the championship, the Italica Women's World Cup, and go and push and be who I was before my.
Oh, that's brilliant to hear. Savannah, has there been a person through your career that's probably been your mentor, the person that's helped you through the most at this point?
Yes, there is. Her name's Danica Hulat. She rides motocross, but she rides quad. She's been my biggest inspiration since I was 5 years old. One day I went out to the track and I got ridden over by a quad, and the kid stopped on top of me with his quad. So she saw the accident that happened. She lifted the quad off me. She picked me up, and ever since that day, she's taken me under her wing. She raced internationally, but in dirt bikes for quads in motocross. But hey, she taught me everything I knew on motocross, and even now, if I need any emotional support or whatever, she says, okay, I'll give her a phone call, and she's there for me.
It's awesome to have somebody like that in your corner. Savannah, do you have any rituals or superstitions or anything like that you partake in before you ride? A bit like, I suppose, Rafa Nadal and his twitchy hands all over his face and all that. Is there anything that you do before you ride that is a sort of good luck omen for you?
What I usually do, of course, before I ride, I do my stretching techniques and all that, and I get my body warm because otherwise you'll put a muscle on the bike. And then I get on the bike and I basically race the race in my mind. So I'll tuck in, I'll practice the corners as if I was racing. I'll visualize doing the race. I've done that for the last, I don't know how many years, and it helps me get my mind ready for the race. So before you race the race, you're already ready for whatever might happen. So yeah, that's my routine.
Okay, nice. And Savannah, this sport is male dominated, and there are more females coming into the sport. Would you recommend the sport to young girls that have an interest in speed, and whether it's in motor cars or on motorbikes? Is it something that you would recommend? And what would your advice be to a youngster who had thoughts of getting to where you are?
I would definitely recommend the sport. It gives you a clear mindset of what to do. It gives you a goal in life to just aim for the best. And yes, I would advise anyone to get involved in it. It's a lovely sport. The riding community is such a family. And to get involved in motorbikes, I would suggest for any child to look into going to the South African Motor Racing Academy, so SAMRA. You can look at them up on Facebook or on their website. They teach you from the word go. You learn how to balance, how to race. Well, that's on superbike. They teach you everything. I went through their academy, and now I am one of their coaches.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic that you're giving back. And just before we say goodbye, many people would think that you wouldn't necessarily need to be very fit to be on a superbike or any other motor vehicle for that matter. It's very much the opposite, though. What is your sort of fitness plan? Are you incredibly fit? Do you run? Do you do yoga? What is it that you do to get race ready?
Yes, for racing any motor vehicle, you have to be stupidly fit. And surprisingly, you have to be quite strong. So yes, I do running. I can run at least day to day. I run at about 10Ks a day. Then I do, of course, your strength training, which is with weights, and I ride my bicycle a lot because bicycle training also does help because you've got to have quite a strong cardio. And yeah, you've got to keep your fitness up because controlling such power with you, it's actually crazy how tiring it actually is. Just for an example, I did the 1 hour endurance race up in Zimbabwe, and that honestly kills you. It is, your body aches, you get cramps, but you've got to ride through it. And the best way to prepare for that is to train. You've got to be stupidly fit.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure. Savannah, it's been awesome having a chat to you today. Thank you for joining us on Sport SA Daily Diary. It's great to get to know a new sport, and good luck back at the Italica World Cup in Mexico. We hope to see you on the podium. No doubt we'll see you on the podium. And good luck, stay fit and stay on the bike.
Thank you so much for having me, Adam. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's watching. And if you'd like to follow me, follow my Facebook page, Savannah #77 on Facebook.
Awesome. Thanks, Savannah. Take care.
Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Catch us again tomorrow on Sport SA Daily Diary, where we'll be chatting to ex-Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey.